What if I told you that there was an NBA player so good at crossovers that defenders were literally afraid to guard him? From creating a Baller's Life mixtape in the league with his highlights to literally inventing a move that revolutionized the NBA, Jamal Crawford was truly one of the greatest ball handlers in NBA history. But here's the crazy part, because Jamal wasn't some superstar starter. In fact, he spent most of his career coming off the bench, and although this resulted in him winning 3 Sixth Man of the Year awards and becoming 4th all-time in fourth quarter scoring, it never really allowed him to get the same shine as other superstars. So why was someone this talented never a starting player, and how did he even become so unstoppable with the ball anyway? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to the 2000 NBA draft. June 28th, 2000.
With the 8th pick in the 2000 NBA draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Jamal Crawford from the University of Michigan.
I'm doing a press conference 15 minutes later for Cleveland. Like, you just been traded to Chicago. I'm like, what?
Jamal Crawford, a Seattle native who made a name for himself initially at Rainier High School before dominating during his short stint at Michigan due to NCAA violations, had been preparing for this moment his whole life because Jamal fell in love with the game of basketball.
It was my safety haven because I was always, my mom and dad were never together. So I was always with one or with the other, and that ball, looking back, kept me safe.
And specifically, one aspect of it.
I was the kid who had a ball and somebody be walking towards me, somebody going to work, business person. I'm Jamal, I do a move. They walk past like, what's he doing? This kid's crazy, what's he doing? So now, looking back, that's where my footwork came from. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, okay. Now I just became one with the ball. I used to sleep with my ball. So I've never done a cone drill in my life. Never. I've never done it because to me, my thinking was that cone's not a 6'6" 2 guard who can move and be athletic. So I'm like, let me just play and figure it out. And so I just kept the ball with me. And so when I'm dribbling, it's almost like when you're walking. You're not thinking left foot, right foot. It's walking. I can lose the ball and go into a whole nother move where you thought you had it because I became one with the ball.
Combine Jamal's incredible passion for basketball with his desire to dominate everyone in front of him.
Then I was trying to embarrass every single person I played against.
I have sprained a couple ankles when I was younger, especially.
And Crawford was ready to help guide the rebuilding Bulls back in the championship direction. However, playing behind 5 other guards, Crawford initially struggled to even see the floor, resulting in Jamal's confidence beginning to fall.
So I'm trying to figure out what to his point. At first, when I'm coming down court, I'm looking at coach like kind of running that. He's like, man, just play. But I was so insecure and I'm still young and I'm trying to figure it out. And so I had so many days where I would go play at the park with guys during the season, or I go to a YMCA just to keep my confidence.
Combine this with the Bulls front office, led by general manager Jerry Krause, who was driven to prove that he could build a championship-winning team without the help of his former superstar Michael Jordan. Any potential trade assets for the upcoming Big 3 free agents were often relegated to the bench.
Now, he truly believed that we were going to sign Grant Hill, Tim Duncan, and Tracy McGrady. Like he said, with all this cap money, he believed we were going to sign all 3 of them.
Yet, as the Seattle Natives' rookie season was rounding out, Jamal, potentially in a sneaky move by Krause to increase his value, began to see more and more minutes.
And by the end of this season, you can go back and look. I scored 17 points 3 of the last 5 games. Like, okay, I got it.
But while this decision ultimately failed in achieving Krause's ultimate goal, Jamal's play had caught the eye of a certain former Bulls shooting guard, the man the 20-year-old Crawford had idolized his whole life.
Tim Grover, I'm in Chicago, and he's like, yo, MJ said you can meet him. Like, well, it's 6 in the morning. I'm like, what? Man, I took off down there so fast. I got downtown in probably 30 minutes. I get there like 6:30, whatever it was, 6:20. And I walk in, it's just us 3 in the weight room, and I can't stop looking at him. And obviously it's just us 3, but I'm not even talking because I don't want to ruin his workout. He's talking in between sets or whatever, and he's like, yeah, man, I've liked your game. He's like, this summer we could work out.
Michael Jordan, seeing the potential in this shifty guard, began to mentor Jamal.
Like, if the best player ever is saying you got game and he believes in you, I'm not even worried about anybody else.
Which not only saw his confidence rise to new peaks, but Crawford featured in one of the most iconic commercials of all time, in which a 39-year-old Jordan competed one-on-one against his younger self who was played by Jamal. However, just as his incoming sophomore season was about to start, Jamal tragically tore his ACL in a scrimmage, resulting in the Seattle native missing the majority of his second season. So even with backing from the game's current greatest player, could Crawford even get any minutes during his third season? Was a shifty, scoring-focused shooting guard really able to help teams win games? And real quick, can you check if you're subscribed? If you're not, you might want to change that, but you don't have to, it's your choice. Well, thankfully for Crawford, with the appointment of three-time champion, former Bulls big man Bill Cartwright into the head coaching role, Jamal would finally get the opportunity to not only start, but showcase how truly gifted he was.
Crawford starts to drive, crossover move, leaner off the... Oh, Jamal caught it!
Because not only was he scoring like any other guard would, but the now 22-year-old was pulling out moves the NBA had never seen before.
And for Crawford, Jamal, leaner, wow! I got this crowd pretty excited with that move.
Check and bake, I made it when I was 16 on accident.
But it's ultimately what happened in Chicago's final game of their 2002-2003 season, which truly changed everything for Jamal Crawford, as facing off against another idol, the Philadelphia 76ers point guard, Allen Iverson, Crawford got to work.
Like, I felt my game going to a whole nother level, and it was making its way around the thing. Like, man, that little Bulls guard, because I hadn't done it yet. But like, man, that Bulls guard can go. I'm telling you, that Bulls guard can go.
Jamal would pour in bucket after bucket, and while Iverson had scored a shocking 41, Crawford's early career high 33-point night had thankfully seen his Bulls in their failed season on a high. Yet, throughout the 2003-2004 season, Chicago had failed to build any amount of momentum. And while Jamal was still continuing to wow everyone who saw him play,
I told Roman Madrowski that. He's like, this is one of my last days on the beat. It's like, why don't you get 50? And I was shooting and everything was going in. I was like, I think today I can do it. And then I got 50.
By going out and dropping 50 points on the road against the Raptors and improving his averages to 17.3 points a night, the Bulls had only won 23 games. A horrific win-loss record, which saw the franchise begin to question what they were actually doing and begin to make some serious changes.
It was crazy because Isaiah Thomas was the first person to call me at 12:01, when I was a free agent. And he said, we want you, we feel like you fit in perfect with us. I was like, damn, the Knicks. I locked in on the Knicks.
While Jamal's decision to take his game to its greatest stage of Madison Square Garden, the New York Knicks, much like the Chicago Bulls, were also stuck in a winning hangover. Because even with Crawford finally being presented with the opportunity he had always dreamed of, not only being handed a true starting role, but the keys to New York's offense, which allowed him to put up nights such as his 41-point game against the Bobcats and a 40-piece versus the Suns shortly after, the Knicks still only won a terrible 33 games, resulting in general manager Isaiah Thomas making a change not only to the Knicks, but to Jamal's whole NBA career. As with the appointment of the 2004 NBA championship winning head coach Larry Brown to the Knicks leadership role for the 2005-2006 season, a massive move was coming Crawford's way.
And he trusted me, like I had the ball late and everything. He's like, it's not about who starts, it's who finishes. He always said that. He always drilled that in my head, always drilled it. And so I learned a lot from Coach Brown. He's actually probably the best teacher I've ever played for.
Because Brown decided to bring Jamal off the bench, a move done to highlight Crawford's elite scoring talents and taking the pressure off him from doing anything else. A decision which resulted in Jamal being the first of New York's bench, known as the sixth man, that allowed him to focus on one thing and one thing only: getting buckets.
I think the crossover is so effective because you can use it with either hand. You can go either way with it. A lot of people don't want to be crossed over, so sometimes you set it up just by doing a regular straight line drive, and that sets up the crossover for later on in the game. Something
that Jamal was elite at, as throughout his first season as a bench guard, the Seattle product was scoring at will, crossing people out of their shoes, and saving his Knicks with incredibly clutch buckets late in games.
And he's going to take it up the bucket. Garden crowd on its feet. Crawford on the pull-up. It's up.
However, once again, New York simply wasn't a playoff team. Even with Jamal putting up one of the most special performances at Madison Square Garden of all time in the following season.
See Francis out or something like that. And then I scored 52 in 39 minutes. So I missed my first 4 shots. And then I hit 16 in a row at 42. And I came out the game at 52 with 7 minutes to go. So I still think like, man, that could have been 60, at least 60. I could have got 8 points in 7 minutes.
And perhaps hitting one of the most unique moves in NBA history against Kirk Heinrich.
Now here's Crawford the other way.
The Knicks only managed to win 33 games in the 06-07 season, then mustering up just 23 in the 07-08 season. A tragic fact, which, even though Jamal was averaging 20.6 points and 5 assists during the 2007-2008 season, that saw an unfortunate label stuck to Crawford by GMs, because most front offices simply saw Jamal as an empty stat player, someone who, if they traded for or signed, wouldn't help them achieve further success. To make matters worse, despite being moved to another struggling squad, the Golden State Warriors, for the 2008-2009 season, and continuing to not only put up insane numbers, such as his 50-piece for Charlotte, but breaking the ankles of Boston Celtics shooting guard Ray Allen.
What was crazy about it was he fell, but then he put his hands out like he was Jesus for real. Like he just laid down for a second. He laid down for a second. I was like, hold up, man, that's Jesus.
General managers' opinions still remained, as in their eyes, Jamal was not a winning player, and perhaps Crawford's time in the league was going to be coming to a quick end. Or was it? Well, after the Warriors opted to move on from Jamal and the Seattle native ended up with the Atlanta Hawks, something incredible was about to happen, as the Hawks weren't a franchise in disarray hoping that Crawford would somehow magically turn them into a championship contending team. No, they already were one. Their decision to acquire Jamal was done for one reason and one reason only, because their head coach, Mike Woodson, much like Larry Brown, had a specific role in mind for Jamal: come off the bench and lead the league in scoring. Something that Crawford was more than willing to do, as the Seattle native was desperate to rid himself of the negative label which had been stamped all over him, and prove to the world that he truly was a winning basketball player.
The one thing in life that's constant is change. And so no matter what the situation is, you're going to have to change. I think if you don't change, you die.
But on opening night, something unusual happened. Crawford, who had once again averaged over 20 points during his short stint with the Warriors, came off Woodson's bench as planned and only added in 3 points. Mike Woodson, angered by Jamal's lackluster performance,